Hi, ladybugs. How are we doing tonight? I'm doing good. It's really hot here today. I don't shower every day because it's a lot of work to shower. It's really hard for me, but every couple days. But it's been so hot. I usually shower when I take a bath, but it's been so hot. I haven't wanted to take a bath because it's just too hot. So I showered today, and it just feels so nice when you're clean. Like you just feel all refreshed and nice. So let's start with Rannon, I think. Let's see. I had a pair of overalls here that were too big for Nyani. And I was going to use them on Rannon, but I seem to have misplaced them. Let me see if I can locate them. That's not them. Huh. I losing my mind. Anyway, so what was I thinking? Oh, I was watching a video today I was talking about the way that women dress these days. And, that's something that I've noticed. I've noticed that women, in general, not all the women, of course, every woman is different. And, there's no like flat, this is how all women dress. But, I have noticed a lot. Oh, I think I found it. Let me see. Yeah, I have noticed a lot of inappropriate dressing in public. It's like even older women. It's like we're trying to out hoe the young hoes. I don't know. Here's how I look at it. I try not to judge people, but I don't always succeed. Sometimes I fail at that. But here's how I look at it. When you go out in public, there used to be a set of decorum. You know what I mean? Like if you went to church, you had a certain attire. If you went to dinner, you had a certain attire. If you went to the club, you had a certain attire. You know what I mean? That's how things used to be. It's not quite like that anymore. And I don't know why, that's kind of like what I'm trying to figure out. I don't understand why things have changed so drastically, but they have. And this would be cute under those overalls, I think. And it's like now, like club attire belongs at dinner, it belongs at church, pajamas belong at the supermarket. It just seems like all the different ways that we used to kind of separate our wardrobe has now become this issue of like everything is for everywhere. Do you know what I mean? And I first of all let's get into the fashion. Here's the thing. No matter what weight you are, because I have been very, 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 very skinny. I was anorexic when I was a teenager. And I have been very, 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 very overweight. In my 20s, I hit 380. Now I'm much lower than that. I'm like in the 190s. So I still have weight to lose, but I'm not nearly as overweight as I used to be. But the thing is that overweight women, there's nothing wrong with being overweight. We all have our own, either medical or, dietary struggles. But overweight women can look really nice. There's nothing about being overweight that makes you automatically ugly. You know what I mean? Overweight women can look very attractive. But you have to dress for your weight. Having been someone who was very, very large, because 380 is very large. Look, I'm chubby now and I'm only like 190. So can you imagine how big I was at 380? Very big. In fact, I think I have a photo. Let me look real quick on my iPad of when I was 380. Let me take a look. I might have it on here. Let me see. I think I took a picture of a picture, if that makes any sense, but I guess not because I don't see it. So I thought I probably have it on my phone, but I can't access my phone while I'm recording. So, yeah, I guess I don't have very many pictures on here, but I don't have it on here. And so Here's the thing. Having been someone who's that large, I can tell you that there are certain things that you shouldn't wear when you're that big. And that's just my opinion. Obviously, people are going to have different opinions, but when you have a big old gut, you shouldn't wear a crop top. So, that kind of thing. And that's what I see a lot of. I see a lot of really overweight women who think it's hot to dress like they're on the pole, and that just doesn't look good. I mean, you can look really good, and you don't have to cover yourself up and like wear ankle length skirts, but there is a way to look nice to fit your body. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a big chested woman. I have always been a big chested woman. So for me, oh, here's Rhiannon all dressed. Look how cute. So for me, because I'm a large chested woman, those shirts that have like the built-in breast area, do you know what I mean? Like, there are shirts that like scrunch up in the center and then they have like a breast area. I don't wear those because my breasts don't fit in that breast area. And then it's like spilling out and you have some down here and some up here and it just looks really bizarre. So I don't wear those. And that's what I mean by dressing for your body. We all have different body types. We all have different issues with our bodies. We all have things we like about our bodies. And you have to dress to accentuate that type of body, whatever type of body you have. Now, I will lose weight. I have been losing weight for the last year, but I'm never going to be a small chested woman. That's just not my body type. I'm always going to be a little bit larger in the chest. So those, shirts that have the breast area, they don't work for me because, like I said, it cuts me right in the center, and then I have some under boob hanging out and I have some over boob hanging out. Yeah, it's not pretty, trust me. And what I've noticed is that a lot of women are wearing things that are not necessarily flattering to their body. Like, I see a lot of really large women wearing the hip hugging pants where their butt crack is hanging out. I want to go to the pharmacy and I don't want to see your butt crack or your thong. I'm sorry. I just don't want to see it. And I think it used to be that you kind of dressed for your body, and now no matter what kind of body you have, everybody wants to look like they're on the pole or they just got off the pole. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with dressing sexy, but there's a time and a place, and that's just my feeling about it. There's a time and a place to look like you're clubbing or you belong down on the corner. You know what I mean? I'm not going to lie. I went through my hoe phase. I wore the hooker heels. That's what I call them, my hooker heels. And, I wore the mini skirts, when I was young. But, you kind of, well, not, I guess not everybody, but I've outgrown that now. I don't need to have that kind of look. You know what I mean? I try to make my body look good in the way that my body is. My body is a bigger body. I'm chubby. I wouldn't say that I'm fat because I've lost quite a lot of weight, but I am chubby, plump, and wearing stuff like crop tops and not only does it make me uncomfortable, but it doesn't look good. My belly roll hanging out is not attractive. And I've just noticed that a lot of women, and not all women, obviously there are quite a few women who dress for their bodies and dress appropriately, but there are a lot of women who don't do that and who think that no matter what age you are or what size you are, you can look like you're about to hit the pole. And that bothers me a little bit because I don't want to go out and see someone's butt crack. Or, the other thing that I've noticed is that showering seems to be at an all-time low right now. I don't know if you guys have noticed that when you go out, but standing in line with people, there's some serious BO going on. Like, I don't know what the deal is with the whole lack of shower things. I mean, maybe there's a lack of water somewhere in the US, a lack of soap, I'm not sure, but showering seems to be at an all-time low right now. And I grew up in a world where you showered every day. You got up, you took a shower, you got dressed for the day, whatever you were going to do that day. But now it's like showering is like the Antichrist, It's like people are avoiding it like the plague, and I don't really understand that either. Here's little Milo. There he is. Isn't him cute? He looks cute in this little sailor outfit, but I'm going to change him. And I've noticed that is an issue too. People are really stinking out there. A lot of people I run into, and I'm like, wow. And you can't, I don't want to say anything. I don't want to make someone embarrassed or make them feel bad, but wow, there must be a shortage of soap going on, because I've never run into this many stinky people in the last, like I have in the last couple months. Like, it's like showering is just not existent. When you get to this age, because I just turned 50, you don't sweat like you used to. You know what I mean? And I never was a big sweater, but I wasn't big sweater. Get it? That's funny. Anyway, sorry. I know that wasn't really comical, but I thought it was cute. And I didn't plan it ahead of time. It just sort of happened. But I never was someone to sweat a lot, but as I've hit my mid 40s, I sweat even less. So if I go a couple of days without a shower, it's very different than like my 21-year-old daughter not having a shower. You know what I mean? Like, if I go 2 or 3 days, I can do that because I don't sweat like I used to. But I've just noticed that when I'm out and about, that there's some real body odor going on, and that's disturbing. It's like, I don't know look how cute he looks just in this diaper with his shirt. Look how cute he looks in the little diaper. So cute. You know what I want to get? I want to get plain white diapers without any design on them. And I know that Dripers has a diaper that's plain white. I would love for pictures to have some plain white diapers. Sorry, his little back bits are falling out. So I've noticed that, about the showering. That's kind of disturbing. I don't know why people are showering less. It seems like I don't want to say self-respect, but self-care has really taken a nosedive in the last couple decades, like from when I was young, and it was very different. The other thing I've noticed is a lot of young, like toddlers, age kids, dressing like, Chuggy, what are you doing? Or Tiny, what are you doing? Dressing like they're ready to hit the baby pole. You know what I mean? Like, I see them wearing like the scrunched up tops that come to right here and the booty shorts. And it's like, that just drives me nuts. And again, if you dress your child like that, I'm truly sorry. I'm not trying to offend you, but it does. It just drives, this is my channel and it's going to kind of have my opinion. But it just drives me crazy. I can't stand when people dress babies or toddlers like they're just small adults, because they're not. And I think it's really inappropriate to dress young kids like that. I was out, I'm going to give an example of a baby that I saw, and then I'll give you an example of a teenager that I saw who was incredibly inappropriate. So when I was at the market a couple weeks ago, there was a little girl, and she must have been about, I don't know, 2.5, maybe 2.5, something like that. And she was toddling around. She was so cute, but she was wearing a tube top that scrunched up in the front. And she was wearing booty shorts where, like, she was obviously in underwear, and her little, like, it basically like cut her like this. So like most of her butt cheek was hanging out. And then her mom had her phone with her, and she was playing some music on her phone, and she was dancing and she was twerking. And I was like, okay, how does a 2-year-old know how to twerk? Like, to me, that's disturbing, very disturbing. I'm just going to put him in a white t-shirt because I think he looks so cute with his diaper on. And that was kind of like, whoa, what's going on here? Like, I didn't say anything, and I just kind of walked away because, it's not appropriate to tell people how to raise their children. But this little girl was acting far beyond her years, like far. I mean, like distant future beyond her years. And it was pretty disturbing, actually. And then one of the times I remember the most inappropriate teenager I ever saw was I went to pick up my stepdaughter at high school. This would have been, let's see, how old is she now? She's 24, almost 25. So she would have been 16 maybe. So 9 years ago. And so the way that their high school was there was an office, there was a main office, and then there was another little office, like I think they called it the attendance office, where you sign kids out. And at the attendance office, there was this like half door, where like it has a ledge and you sign the paper. And I was standing there waiting for her, and I heard this click, clack coming down the hall. And it was actually someone coming down. So right in front of me, there was a hallway, and then right next to the hallway, there was a staircase. And I looked up, and she was coming down the stairs. And this girl was really, really dark black, like really dark black. She was absolutely stunning. She had long hair. She had the most beautiful face. She was a gorgeous, gorgeous young girl. But she was very, her skin tone was very, very dark black, and she was wearing fluorescent pink underwear and bra underneath this very, 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 very thin. It was like a one piece that she was wearing. It had little spaghetti straps. It was white, and it basically had like a tight part here, and then it had some like really short shorts that kind of billowed out a little bit. And she was wearing, I kid you not, like 4-inch white heels, like stilettos, massive, massive heels. And as she's coming down the stairs, her skirt, because I told you it was tight on the top, but it was very flowy on the bottom, her skirt was flopping up and down. And I mean, you know, there was nothing left to the imagination. I can tell you that she was wearing a thong, and I wasn't even looking really. And that, to me, when I saw her, I was like, oh my God. Like, I mean, I was stunned. I couldn't believe that kids are allowed to wear that to school. Like, she literally looked like she was wearing a negligee, you know, like really like a see-through nightie, and underneath she was wearing neon pink bra and panties. And I just thought, wow, like that is so beyond inappropriate. So it's not a new phenomenon that I see with these kids, you know, dressing, you know, inappropriately. It's obviously been going on for years. You know, my kids all wanted to try that, but we had very strict rules, modesty rules in our house that we called them. And, you know, like my girls, they could wear leggings out in public as long as the shirt they were wearing with the leggings covered their bum. That was our rule. They could not wear crop tops or halter tops, nothing that showed off their midriff. When they got bathing suits, they were allowed to pick their own suits, but they either had to be a one piece or a tankini. There was no bikinis. And I told my girls from the time they were very young that your body is a gift and you don't show it to everybody. You know, it's a gift that you give to the person you love when you get married. And I know that, you know, one of my daughters has not waited to get married to give that gift away. The rest of them have. But it wasn't really about stopping them from having intimate action. It was more about, I told them always, let your brain and your heart be what people love you for, or what people admire you for, not your bum bum, you know? Look how cute. And so, like, they could wear shorts to school. They couldn't wear shorts to school because it was too casual. But they could wear shorts in the summer as long as the shorts came down, you know, like mid-thigh. I mean, we didn't make them wear, like, you know, ankle length, you know, pants all the time. But, you know, they had to have some level of modesty. You know, we raised them in a Christian household, and we raised them with a level of modesty that was like, you know, your body is something very sacred, and you just don't show it to everybody, you know. And I think that we've done a good job with them because, you know, when my daughter turned 18, she said, you know, can I get a bikini now? And I said, if you want to, you're an adult, you can get whatever you'd like. And she went to the store, and I went with her, and she tried on a couple of bikinis, and she kept trying to pull the top down to cover her midsection. And I said to her, you know, the bikini's going to show off your midsection. And she said, I know, I just didn't think I would be this uncomfortable with my midsection showing. And so she ended up getting a two-piece that was more of a tankini. So the midsection was covered. And I think that's a great thing. I think that shows that she was raised well and that she, you know, she has some modesty. I also didn't want my girls to ever be ashamed of their bodies. I always told them how beautiful they were and how, you know, amazing their bodies were. But, you know, I wanted them to grow up with some modesty. And so I feel like I've done a good job with that. But it seems like everybody is trying to outdo you know, relive their hoe age. You know, we've all been there. We all had a hoe age, you know, where we dressed a little loosely. But that's what I think of when I see women dressing like that to go to the supermarket. I think they have loose morals and loose legs. And I know that that's a judgmental and probably not the right, that's probably not true about everybody I see, but that's just how I view it. You know, I believe in modesty and, you know, not showing off every inch of your body. Now, there are times like when I wore those workout pants that have the slit up the side that are really comfortable, and I wore them on camera. And so, you know, you guys saw my knees and my thighs, but it didn't show off, you know, anything else. And I feel like that's important. So, you know, I just want to tell all the ladies out there, especially the younger ones, that you are beautiful inside and out. Your bodies are beautiful. Your bodies are amazing. Your hearts are beautiful. But you don't need to use your body to get what you want. You know, use your heart, use your brain. And hopefully to the young girls who are still underage, please, 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 consider your body as precious. Consider your virtue as precious. It's really important that you don't put yourself out there like that, because what happens is when you put yourself out there like that is you get people who are interested in you for all the wrong reasons. You don't want that kind of attention. You don't want people to be interested in you simply because, you know, you're all skin. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just trying to, you know, tell the young ladies out there that there's another way. There's another way to present yourself, and there's another way to dress. You know, you can look very attractive and even hot without showing off every inch of skin that you have. You know, again, I try not to judge people, and if you are more of a sexy dresser, then that's your you know, your choice, and I respect that wholeheartedly. But just remember, when you go into public spaces and you're showing off a little too much, that it can make other people uncomfortable. You know, other people don't want to see your cheeks. If you're wearing a thong, nobody should know but you and maybe your intimate partner. You know, people at the supermarket should not know what kind of underwear you wear. And that's just my opinion. Again, I don't want to come across as a frigid, you know, judgmental biatch, but I also want to make sure that, you know, the young ladies out there know that you don't have to dress like you're ready to hit the pole. You know, you can dress nicely and look very attractive and even sexy without showing off everything. Because when you show off everything, many people, although they won't admit it, many people will think exactly what I think. There's a woman with loose morals and loose legs. And you don't want to be thought of that way. A lot of people won't admit that they think that way, but they do. When people see you like that, that's what they think. And, you know, it's just, I don't know. I think in the summer it's worse. And again, the other issue I was discussing, please shower before you go out. Please. People are begging you to shower before you go out. If you are going out stinking, nobody wants to smell that. Body odor is such a foul smell. But for the young ladies out there, you are more than your bums and your tatas. You are more than the skin that you show. You are smart. You are ambitious. You are beautiful. You are articulate. You are kind. You are so much more than your outside figure. And I don't want any young ladies to be ashamed of their bodies, but please remember that not everybody needs to see your body. It's about self-respect. It's about respecting yourself, and it's about respecting those around you. This is just a mommy message, you know, even though I'm not your mom, you know, it's a mommy message to say, you know, you're worth more than that. And when you go out like that, it gives the wrong impression, and it puts your worth sort of, some people, not everybody, but some people will see your worth as the amount of skin that they can see. And that's not what you want at all. There are so many beautiful and talented young ladies out there. Please, please, please don't just give it away for free. You know, again, this is just a mommy message. It's something that I've noticed, especially this summer, more than any other summer, is just this need to dress extremely provocatively. And I'm telling you, you're going to lose it. You know, there's an age where no matter what you wear or how big you are, you look cute because you're young. But when you get older, you kind of lose that cuteness about you. And if all you have to persuade people to either give you their time or their attention is your body, then what are you going to do when you lose that? You know what I mean? Because there are, you know, even skinny older women, we lose that bubbly cuteness that happens when you're like 16 to like 26, you know, that starts to fade and you start to become, you know, considered as a mature woman. And you know, that's just my opinion. I'm not going to judge anybody. I try very hard not to, although like I said, I'm not perfect. I sin. You know, I definitely have my faults, but I try not to be judgmental. But here's Mr. Ashton, but it doesn't always work for me. But as a mother figure, for those of you that might be lacking one, you are so much more than your body. You know, you are smart, you are kind, you are creative, you are imaginative, you are motivated, you are articulate, you have a good heart, you have a good soul, you have so much more than your body. So cultivate that side of it, you know, cultivate your intelligence, cultivate your articulation, cultivate your interpersonal skills, cultivate more than just your body. And yes, take care of your body, but also take care of all the other parts about you too, because that's just as important, if not more, than your body is, you know? I just want to remind all the young ladies out there that you are so much more than your bum and your tatas, you know? Coming from someone who has a lot of experience and lived a long life, you know, I'm just telling you girls things that you should know, but maybe nobody's ever told you. So I'm going to tell you. You're beautiful on the outside. You have beautiful bodies and beautiful minds and beautiful hearts. You're beautiful on the inside. And you need to show the world all sides of you, not just those sides, you know? And when you're in a public space, especially a public place that's more family oriented, like restaurants and grocery stores, please cover up at least a little bit. Nobody wants to see your private parts. You know what I mean? I've just noticed that more and more. There was, you know, I see people walk around the supermarket, young ladies with their pants, you know, underneath their butt cheeks, and there's nothing there but a thong line. And it's like, please put it away, you know? Coming from someone who's older, and yes, I'm a bigger woman, and I try to dress to flatter my body and not to look inappropriate. I try to dress more modestly, but you know, it is what it is. And you may be overweight someday too, and it's not about the weight, you know, it's about every woman dressing to flatter her figure, because every woman's figure is different. We have women that look like pears, women that look like apples, women that look like hourglasses, women that look like, you know, straight. There's lots of different body types, and there are clothes to fit every body type. So it's important to find the clothes that not only A, make you feel comfortable, but B, fit your body type, and C, are not so revealing that it looks like you're ready to, you know, hit the pole. So that's just my public message for the day. I'm going to say the ending prayer now. So if you'd like to log off, if you're not religious, I hope you have a great night, and I love you. And for those of you that would like to stay, you can stay. Lord, I ask you, first of all, I thank you for all of my blessings. I thank you for all of the good people in my life and the good things in my life, for the food I have to eat, for the clothes I have to wear, for all of the blessings and the little things in my life that make my life so joyful. Lord, I ask you to be with our young people today, to be with our young ladies, to remind them that they don't need to show off their bodies to be seen as valid and to be seen as important. That remind them that they are so much more than their bodies. They are so much more on the inside. They are a living, loving soul. They have a kind and generous heart that is full of courage and drive to meet their goals. They have dreams. They have everything, and they are so much more than their bodies. Remind them that they don't need to show everything. Remind them that modesty is a virtue. And be with the ones who don't have parental guidance, Lord. Be with them, touch their hearts, and remind them that they have an everlasting, all-knowing, all-good, loving Father in their lives, even if they don't have the earthly Father. I ask all of this through your Son, Jesus Christ's name, and I ask that you help anybody watching to be prosperous and to find their place and to achieve their dreams, because that's what it's all about. I hope that everybody who hasn't found love finds love. I hope that those who maybe are dealing with food insecurity, that they will have enough food to eat. And I pray that everybody's will just be happy, peaceful, and content tonight. Through Christ our Lord, amen. Thank you for those of you that stayed for the prayer. If you didn't, no worries. If you did, I hope that you enjoyed it. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Good night, ladies.